Okay, family, I bring warm greetings to Una from the TNN TV media empire. Me, where they talk to Una today, we happen for be the 12th of July 2022. I'm in Prince Emil Koma. And me, obviously, now the host or the anchor for this particular program this evening. There is so much ongoing in the country. I mean, it's not new, by the way, but journalists, them, media pundits, them, political commentators, they are all, if you are like alligator, we're full of meat. So there's so much food around for talk about. But anyway, today we want to talk about the right for protest, the right to protest within the ambit or the context of the law. So a sense of injustice and grievance, deprivation, illegitimacy, as a consequence of inopportunities, them inequities, social inequities in the society, the widening wealth gap can bring frustration can't with people. And as a consequence of this, people who are affected by such things the way they happen in the country can eventually form themselves into groupings or get attracted to the center of gravity. And in this case, Usai people feel a legitimate grievance. Now, in they attract everybody to that center point day. The bottom line is, then situation they can provoke a sense of protest because when people are aggrieved, they can get a feeling there for protest. Sometimes it's spontaneous, sometimes it's arranged or organized and then mobilized by people of interest. But the bottom line again is everyone has the right to protest. Everyone has the right for associate with other people and then get the right for gather together for one common purpose or for a common purpose, if you will like. Chapter 3, I think now page 15 of the Constitution, now in provide this guarantee and it's fundamental to the freedom we talk about this particular constitution. Because remember say this now in now we alpha and we omega. This now we overall protector. And they talk about the 1991 constitution. So there are caveats around this particular chapter give you this guarantee. But that caveat where they around them, now in politicians them or the authorities them, or they talk about those that are in power can always play alongside with for deprived people of protesting or for assemble and express their grievance. The idea that government can stop people over and over, which of course they have the right to, but it has to be within the law, not only because they disagree with you, which you want protest for, but the idea that you get the right for protest, and what you want protest about, government not like that, so government stop that, that is in itself against the law. That in itself is against the law. Tonight we suppose forget two of we brother them for can help we for understand this particular issue we want to talk about today or we can talk about today in the person of Bashiru Bashiru Vandi and Rolling Stone. Yes, join us. Let me just do a quick audio test. Rolling Stone, did you hear me, sir?
Yeah, they get you, sir.
Brilliant. I think apparently now my own audio day would they hear you anyway. Maybe now my audio day down, so make a raise the volume up. And I'm happy to see you. It's been a while on the TNN TV Media Empire. It's good to have dissenting voice on the Empire. Thank you so much for joining. So I've been just to make the intro day, and I think say I go hold on to that for now. And I've already introduced you. They wait for the second person. But we can get along with the program, and this is exactly what I want to do. For let we get along with the program, Mr. Karibu. So I guess you read the introduction there, where they talk about the right for protest and etc. But before we go into the subject matter today, I want to ask you, what thing you take about the state of affairs in the country today? How do you see the country economically, politically, and socially?
Well, good. I mean, good evening to viewers, Mr. Prince. Such a direct question, actually, a demand a direct answer, and my answer to that is things are working as it should be. It is not perfect, but we are getting there. I mean, be as it is, no matter how you look at things, it is not as promising as we are looking at, we been expect, which I mean is present everywhere. But we are working, making moves, strides in order for make things work as it should be. So economically, the future is bright. Politically, we are getting there. It is not as perfect as you can expect, but we are getting there.
All right, you sound very much political. Not knowing for be that very much political because your answer is quite a very very smart one, and I really appreciate that. And Mr. Karim, if you can bring your device or you yourself can down just little bit half inch down, so that your head is not cut off, that will be absolutely
Is it okay?
appreciated.
Is it okay now? Is
You
it
know,
okay?
yes, yes, you can left and or take her up a little bit more so we equal, but it's okay. Okay, they're right there. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that answer. But I push a little bit on that answer, and I really like the answer. Not as we will expect things for be, but that in itself means that things are not too good. Correct, sir?
No, not in the context in which they look at them. When I tell you it is not as what we are expecting, not mean say it's not exactly. I mean, I'm not like positive about the answer we argue on that line. All thing that they tell you is economies all over the world are struggling. No one is perfect. That's the bottom line. So if I come to you and tell you, say, it is good and everything, then research then show you, say, it is not as good as I've been they say, then I can be whole responsible for giving you false information. So I did tell you how I see them. You might have been seeing it differently from the way I made it see them. You're asking me my opinion, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, thanks again for that answer. But the idea is research can reveal to every one of us what the state of economy is, not to voodoo, not to magic. We know waiting at the GDP as we speak. We know say inflation day on the up. We know say the local currency, the leons, is not doing well against other currencies. We know that we import exports are not doing quite well, and the fiscal policy and other things them they are well documented not doing fine. So much so that the government decide for change the currency. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Bashiru. Yeah. This is why exactly and people in the Yeriwi, as a professional, you always get for keep that in mind. And at the talk and globally, everybody the Yeriwi, Mr. Bashiru Vandi, you are a top notch when it comes to social media, a scientist, a political scientist, social scientist. Now you they call me when you they call me when I did in mid flow for say you know able forget. This is why I sent you a message earlier, brother. And I don't know. I go get Karimu. I go get Karimu. Hang on, please. I go get Karimu for continue with the lecture, and I will try for revert to you and see whether I can able for bring you come back in quickly. Yeah. I'm really sorry about it. That's all right, sir. That's all right. I will get back to you shortly. Bye bye. Right. Again, this is another part in us. Let's just make yeah public. Of course, Mr. Vandy has apologized, but how many more times can we apologize? For the same thing over and over and again. Coming back to you, Mr. Karimo, the point I'm trying to make here is this will necessitate the prevailing circumstance will necessitate for people and for gravitate together in one space with a common cause for tell government say things are not right. And that bring we come to the topic for tonight, which is the right to protest. So a direct question, Mr. Karimo, do you believe in the right of protest or to protest?
Well, I believe say everybody get right to protest, and the state gets the right for give that space there for protest. But those protest requests comes with responsibilities.
Absolutely.
You not just the go protest because you want for protest. So it's on both sides. They're on two sides. You get the right for protest, and the state get the right for you for granting requests. But it comes with responsibilities as well, and there are conditions attached to it. It's not just a straightforward something. I want protest, then say go protest. Because the environment in which they live now, the country where they live, Sierra Leone, not a different system altogether. It's not as a straightforward something. Like with other people, and they make examples, say, oh, they don't go, they ask for protest, they don't get a chance, they don't go protest, but Sierra Leone, who want, they know they give it. We're dealing with different issues in this whole protest something. And by the way, I just want to remind you, say, your post about this thing, it was a bit misleading, very sensational. If you, if you know, if you can, if you can permit me chance for just tell you, say, you make it so sensational that when you look at it, it look bad.
So misleading, I will give you time for let you book and down to me because it's a learning process for me as well, and I can like for
Okay.
listen to me guests. But sensational, misleading are two different things. Are they? Are you
Yeah.
saying both or which?
I am well. One is sensational because it's sensational. That it makes it misleading to the viewers.
Okay,
I know if you get
what
that.
is it? What is it? What do you get umbrage with the topic?
Okay,
Why?
then I can
Yeah.
just tell you now. Let's just bring the thing come up and I'll tell you what's in the thing. Um. Okay. You're saying here the right to protest, which is any caption can carry that.
Yeah.
Why are government scared? I not say government scared of any protester. So that's the sensational side of it.
Okay.
Making it as if government is scared of allowing people to protest. So I hope I don't get
Okay.
myself clear on that.
Yeah, but it was a question that we're open to answer. But thanks for bringing that up. Very much appreciated. So make a deal with that really, really quickly. So when we say why are governments scared, and let we take we country, let we put on at the center of this conversation now on why governments are scared or if governments are scared. The idea that protests have been stopped over and over and over, and there's a reason why I ask you, Mr. Karimu, from the beginning, whether or how you feel about the state of we country, both politically, economically, and socially. And the answers where you give very smart answers because you short, you stop short of fully committing to a particular answer, but very clever answers though. That was the particular reason why I asked you for that. Because once we know, say, the state of the country is not doing quite well economically, politically, and socially, which I'm sure we have a common denominator on, that we are not where we expect for be. So therefore, there are people within the state who are aggrieved. And this is not new, Mr. Karimu. It goes back. We can go back even before other government, but we talk about the government today. So they not don't allow the people them for express this aggrieve with and get this grievance with and get inside them. And over, we've seen that the government will not tolerate such necessarily for reasons the way you give the state of security, but we see the government don't deny people them where apply for go protest say no to them people and they and allow a particular set of people for protest. That was all over the media, the one or two protests that we've had. So hence why we come up with the title, are government scared, or why are government scared? Because they've been depriving people from protesting despite the economic and social and political environment, which is not conducive for the people. A lot of people are suffering. What say you, Mr. Karimu?
Well, I disagree with you on all the issues that we don't highlight there. Greatly
Yeah.
disagree with you. First and foremost, Prince, I mean, let's face the problem that we have in the country as we they talk. The economic problems that you're talking about, yes, it is not as good as we may expect, right? But equally so, we get for no say, this particular protest in question that we are debating now, it came about as a result of various interest groups them, we just they try for use, the vulnerable people them, for achieve them goals there, i.e., using the civil society, using other means for let them just cause problem na the country. And they talk about the economic issue. Now, don't make people they're not happy. They want for come out for come protest. But me, they tell you say Prince, the government not tell anybody say you know the protest. There are rules and there are laws binding anybody we want for protest in that country. If you come out and tell government say you want for protest, you go through the processes where everybody they follow. Prince, if you meet the threshold, the criteria, then they give you permit for let go protest. But equally so, I want to remind you, say, successive government in other country, they always don't they get problem with people we want for protest for various reasons. I.e., one, we get people in another country we only they use protest as a conduit for letting able achieve with criminals, and they would then just want for let people then get permit for go protest or demonstrate. They use that with say for cause problem in the country where this it will be disastrous to the country. In the end, if police not may preempt that and intervene, me and you win at the bystanders, and we get for begin to look at the lapses again on police, say police this, police that, police that. So to me, I disagree with you on the areas that always don't highlight, say the government, the muzzle, they suppress the citizens' their right to protest. It is not true, Prince. In actual fact, the government is actually trying to protect civil unrest in the country as a result of waiting opposition members they want to create by using all these pockets of civil society groups and for coming about say they want for protest for this, they want for protest for that. So that's why I disagree with you.
So outside this evidence they come up from where you they allude to, say you get people them we want destabilize the country, and you they call CSO them, and the CSOs them then get responsibilities. They do have responsibilities. And then you they say, you they point out outrightly to them, say there is evidence. Apparently there is evidence for say the intentions are different, and this is why government is stopping them from protesting. Where's your evidence coming from?
No. Get the point right. I
Okay,
think I'll go over that. Go over that again. Then you go over
please
again.
do.
They tell you, say, based on experience that we don't see, there are people in Sierra Leone, in Freetown in particular, they wait for opportunities like this for go about and cause mayhem in the country. I don't give examples, say, some of the CSOs that will get at the country, na Salonde, this is what they are best good at. And these are the people, the oppositions, and they use for let them able achieve with for create embarrassment for the government, right? And that's now that are the try for tell you. And the evidence to that are this. We get civil societies there, they're not even there in existence. You don't even hear about them. You only hear about them when conflict like this don't occur, like who they everybody's protest like something. That's when they hear about women for something or so. I've never heard about that. You say no, we don't hear about that. They were not existing, but they had them as a decoy. You understand? For use that for that June 4th protest. That's one. You get civil societies in another country. They are only active
When you
when
say them began them for use them for that protest, where again is the evidence coming from? Who
the
was planning
evidence,
to use them?
the evidence is there because we saw them at Femi Claudio's house. That's the evidence
Right.
for you because we've never seen them before because they didn't have Femi Claudius in house. So and
So
Femi Claudius a an opposition leader. So if you don't get an organization which claims saying it's a civil society that we did not know about, the government don't know about, then they not be don't register, but then claim saying a civil society organization, then don't go meet you according to him. They don't go meet and say they want for protest. You understand? So those are some of the people that within politicians and they use. Because Femi, in my view, be need for achieve something. And the only way a cable achiever now for let go through as a decoy for
okay,
use
Mr.
them people and they.
Okay, Mr. Karimu, you are now saying that our mothers, our sisters are threats to the society,
Of course, yes.
and in a lot of
The way,
speculations.
yes. The way they came about that is a threat because
How,
you
how they
cannot
how they
go
went about it?
demonstrate.
Remind the public, please.
How they came about it?
Yeah, the way you say the way how they come about yeah,
Well,
yeah.
as far as evidence are concerned now, they're not be get the right for protest. Police not be getting a clearance. They not be get the policy will be the way represent them when you go for Google meeting with the police. The way in fact it went with a different motive apart from that particular people that we see. So there are a whole lot of dishonesty behind the whole thing. It's only
So
after
you
June 4th we begin we get to know the real stuff behind these things, right? And that's why another make I tell you, see, the situation of the country is complex, and it's subject to interpretation by individuals. But as far as we see, this particular protest or this protest that they were calling for, it was not a protest. It was something that they wanted to achieve, but they cannot achieve it
what is
directly.
it? What is it? What is it that they wanted to achieve? This is why I
Well,
say they talk in a lot of
that's
speculative.
exactly what we see. There be one for make sure say the city come to a standstill. That was exactly what they try to find. Forget the country come to a standstill. That was
Yeah,
what they, I mean.
But Mr. Karimu, if we go understand protests, the idea behind protest is for minority them. So if not that the woman them been planned for do, what was wrong with that? For draw government their
No,
attention to a particular plight.
no, again, that is misleading, Prince. The protest is not to cause mayhem. That's misleading on your side because listen, Prince. Let's get this fact. What you now a social media commentator, you influence a lot of people. Then every pronouncement from you to viewers, them, some people take it as gospel truth. And if you're using your platform for actually say the motive of a protest, now forget a country to a standstill, it's misleading. That's not.
No. Point of quick correction, Mister. Don't put words into my mouth.
Okay.
Now you say so. You keep the talk about say that
No,
woman they have been
I
there.
said I said to you that was what they wanted to achieve.
But that's what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
saying
So
they
if you can
achieved
spare
it.
me 1 minute, spare me 1 minute, you get all the time for talk today. Don't worry about
Okay.
this, Mr. Karimu. Just that we need for set the record straight. Because what you're
Yeah.
saying is factually untrue. I didn't say that. Now you say the woman them, their motive, because you keep the speculate a lot to a point where you they talk about the motive. How did you know about the motive? Apparently, you don't hear from some side. Waiting up in the motive, you say for bring the country to a standstill. And what did I say? My reply to you was, but what's wrong with that? The idea behind protest now for inconvenient the authorities. So if the woman and they bring the states to a standstill, it's very inconvenient, but that's exactly what they want to do to attract
No,
government attention to the
but
plight. Do I make myself
but
clear?
then Prince,
No,
I
do I
still
make
disagree.
myself clear, Mr. Karimu?
I still disagree with you. I still
No,
disagree
you
with
can
you.
disagree,
The
but
idea of
at
a
least there's a
protest,
difference
no,
now.
the idea of a protest is not to get the government uncomfortable. The idea of a protest is for you, the protester, or the organizers of the protest, for make una concerns known to the government. It could be in different ways, yeah. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, with civilized societies now, we don't result into violence. There are so
You
many
see,
ways to defeat it.
you're using words and you they mix and match them as you they go along. Now we don't
No,
come off from something else. Now you don't introduce violence.
no, no,
I
no.
just
I
point
just
that out
declare.
to you. You are all over the place, Mr. Karim, but
No,
carry on.
no, 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 no. I dey
Now you're on
clarify. I dey
violence.
clarify something. I dey clarify something to you. I dey clarify something to you. This is the thing about you, Prince. Yeah, you
Okay.
don't belittle. I mean, factual things that are coming out. What I dey say to you is, when you want for protest and you want let government or authorities they know about your protest or let them know say this is something of concern to you. You don't go about by implementing violence means, yeah, violence method. No, you can protest in different forms and make your concern and your position clear. I was expecting those people who wanted to protest on that day, yeah, get a lot of placards, write what you want write on them. In fact, the best place where they before don't protest for go, then go to Kisi Shell Terminal, then go to NP headquarters. Then I mean, these are the places for go. But you cannot organize a protest and they tell motor riders them, let them not go if una see them, una the bond them motor car them. Una the advice market people for let them not go na market. No, that is like you're a direct challenge to the government. You don't to authorities. You don't do that, Prince. We don't
Okay.
do that here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how sure are we that not all people that we them plant within the protesters them we been getting intention and they for expose, I mean for put the people that they protest in bad light, for make them woman and they in a genuine protest, for begin to say between them, in between them, for say una go burn people in motorcar, anybody who want go to market, una stop them.
Prince,
Yeah.
before the protest itself, June 4th, there were a lot of audio circulating. about this same tool they talk about. Advising motor riders for letting not go, advising market women, I mean school picking for letting not go school, a whole lot of other things that me they with them way them they talk about. So this is not something just limited to people and they try for put the protesters in the basket. By the way, these were not even to me, these were not
On a
protesters.
different, can I pause you there, Roland? You see, you are baffling even me when they ask the questions. So these people that we want protest, then give advance notice, and that again, you they tell the audience advance notice long before the 4th of the month. Okay, advance notice, and in the protest,
Don't get it wrong, Prince.
release.
Prince, stop there, stop there. Don't get stop there. Don't get it. Don't get mixed up. Nope. I know they tell you say then give advance notice. You're not getting me. Listen to what they tell you. When this thing came about, say there's going to be that the rumor of a protest for
Oh, there
June
was a
4th.
rumor for protest.
Yeah, June
Okay.
4th. Because if police not give clearance, it's a rumor. It's not. It's not confirmed. Yeah, we had. I mean, audio messages going out, Prince. We have audio messages going out from various activists, yeah, where they warn people them say, "Una no go." This not to be from the woman them. All waiting we see from the woman then they on audio now waiting they made from Femi Claudia's schooling house. We not me not hear woman say we person go na street let them go burn in waiting say I am telling you about individuals that we been they give audio message we serve them. So
Okay,
this is not
well,
about waiting them.
again, you've just clarified that, and thank you so much for clarifying that because it seems like initially you've been put under the aid of the woman then. But having clarified that, let me make, I mean, because we can, yeah, talk about this all day long, but let me make some progress a little bit. And I want to take you on this or ask you this. You know, say the people, in fact, first of all, we agree, say there's a right to protest.
Yeah,
Okay, I think Bashir will finally find his way through. There's a right to protest,
but it comes with a responsibility.
which we agree with. We agree with that from the very beginning. And we say that caveat there around the right to protest. Now, in government or the authorities, they can play with for say, well, we they suspect say there will be some terror business. Well, we get a health pandemic. So therefore, we will deny una the right for protest. But what I want for let you understand as well, Mr. Karimu, is if government not give permission, it not mean say the people then cannot carry out a protest. Do we understand this?
Well, to answer your question, I just did tell you, say, well, are you again one of the people trying to incite the people for go against waiting authorities then say about something that they deem not fit, and you telling them that, or someone telling them that they have the right to do, even government say no, this is not the right time.
It was a simple question that I asked you, and the word inciting is quite charged. It's quite a charged word, and accusing me of inciting only by you're bringing a point to you. I think we are far away from the truth. So let me ask you again in different way. You are aware say if government not give this now the law now they talk about now. Okay, the law make provision, but it come with obligation and duties. We know that. But when government continue for deprive a people of exercising that right, the people can then still go out and protest. That's what I'm saying. I'm not inciting anybody. I'm just citing what I think say the law says.
Okay. Let's take you on your words now. Let's take you on your
Sure.
words. Let's accept. Let agree. Say, according to from your introduction, if people get right to protest, and if they don't ask permission for protest, in view of all the circumstances surrounding the protest or the environment, and government say, you know what, or let's say police say, this is not the ideal time for this protest. I mean, we can let's look at something. If something comes up in the future, maybe that can, I mean, that go possible. Then you the citizen will ask for this request. You go beyond waiting, government don't, police don't tell you, you go ahead and protest. Remember, two forms of protest. You go protest quietly, you protest violently. And when you protest, obviously the law get for taking cause. So that's where we are. If they deny you, say, if they refuse you permission for protest, you go ahead and protest, then you're breaking the law.
Okay. We will therefore move on. We other guests just don't join. Bashiru, welcome to the program. It's been a while. You look well. Um, the first question I want to ask Mr. Karimu, as a matter of fact, I want to bring that question there to you because that's how we open the program. In other words, waiting are you take about the state of we country right now? And they talk about politically, economically, and socially. What's your take, sir?
Sorry, guys. First of all, I have to apologize for I was held up. I do not know we'll get a massive program where they go on our party currently as global coordinator. I'm central in organizing coverage. So now that meeting I've been there, they try for Fed for commodity for put somebody. So now I make a delay a little bit. Thank you very much, Mr. Prince, for inviting me to this, as usual, your wonderful show. I'm very, very, very objective and, highly, I would say, a very central to, politics in our country. Now, this event tonight, this program, now about the right to protest. What you make, we governments, especially African governments, what you make, then so uneasy, then they object to protest. What you make, there's always a problem with protest. What you make them get a negative attitude towards protest. That's the theme of this particular debate tonight, as far as I understand. Coming back to your question, so I just want to lay the case out first before I come to the question where you say, what are the state of the country? Well, if you ask me personally, there is nothing not changed it fundamentally from USA will be come out before this government come in to USA we did. Which make they talk so. Before this government come in, we will get regionalism where we know about this regional divide and tribal politics was right. Today, not the same. Before this government come in, talk about corruption, stories and problems about corruption were right. Under this government, nothing not change. Before this government come in, unemployment was high. Today, it get worse. Before this government come in, we got all kinds of problems with constitutional adherence. In other words, what I mean, following the very book of law we will contribute on. So in other words, the point is governance itself has remained the same. So my answer to your question is the state of the country today is no different from the state of the country which have been there before this government came in. So now my answer to that, to your question.
Bashiru, many thanks, for your response. And thereby it take me to the same further question or the follow-up question what I do with Mr. Karimu on a basis of fair play. And thanks for your kind compliments. Really appreciate that. Which is, on them basis then of which you just describe, this will normally provide a ground for let the people then be aggrieved. And if this is correct, this will mean that people then will gravitate towards an aggrieved position where at some point then will need for express that grievance they with them bear. And the Constitution does make a provision for that. Will you agree with that, Mr. Vandy?
Yes, I agree with your premise. Say, in other words, what you're doing there, you are advocating, or in other words, you actually highlight a very sacred right in our Constitution about protest, the right to association, right to opinion, right to, all those rights. But might I just say something now? There is no government in the world. We need to accept this. I'm being the devil's advocate for once. There is no government in the world will let protest. None. Abroad, Africa, none. Why? Because protests generally, politicians don't like anything negative. No government not the way elect they do bad. It supporters them for them views for prevail. So they are uneasy when dissenters they publicly display their dissatisfaction with the government. So no government in the world likes protest. Not even in the UK, not even in America. But here is the crux of the issue where we actually dwell on. Now, if you not like protest, what has to be your reaction? And that is where the problem comes in when it comes to Africa. So it is not a case of whether or not we governments or African governments, are averse to protest. The question is, how do they sort of demonstrate their revulsion or their objection to protest? They don't like protest. Now, if you look abroad, I just do some few quotations when an Nkrumah been in power. When I'm hearing that time the way more time in the rain. So, and this, I'm not sure if I talk I'm not going to, because you could almost see that video. You said and Nkrumah, they talk publicly. He said, guys, now when I mean no want, I know that Mr. PAK, you remember that video? I go find him.
Yeah.
He said, now when me no want, but Lord, let's face it. If me want more time, nothing they stop me. When I remember that video where he publicly make that statement.
Yeah.
Secondly, Prince Hardy. There's a video, I don't know Usai will go talk. He said, whenever we come to power now, we they make teams. Then we APC they can employ us. So no, they allow them to come to power again, they not go come to power ever. Not to you, they allow people to come to power. So what do I got to bring them to and for just lay the premise. Now, I refer attention to a Democrat, to a different angle. Obama. They ask him, they tell where he want left power. They say, Mr. Obama, you don't do so well. How you feel when you live in power? Now he say, for telling the truth, and also when I remember this video. He said, I want to continue. He said, but I'm not going to do them. Why? Because the Constitution they allow me for doing. You see the difference? Here you have a politician. It show what you want to do as a human being. You want to continue where they against the Constitution. But so the only reason why you cannot go able to do them because the Constitution. Now compare that statement to them two statements there. And the Nkrumah say, now you don't want. But if you want for do them, nothing to stop them. Presiding in any decide whether or not they left power. So what they make I bring this scenario is very comparable to what we talk about. Now, when you don't like a protest, of course, what do? Abroad, the law takes its course.
Okay.
Getting a police clearance, not a good thing. It is democratic. You have to, in order to allow the police to manage the safety of the protesters. So nothing was necessary. No same Democrat no go say go protest without get clearance from the police. No. We the support the police for enforce the law. So you need to get police clearance. But here is the problem. If you look at the record of the government, they hardly give police clearance to protesters. They will always use gimmicks. So the question is, abroad, the police are left to make a very objective and constructive decision about police clearance without political interference. So that they make them based on facts. In your case.
All right, Bashiru, you make. Prince. Yeah, you want to say? Button, please. Yeah, come in.
Yeah. First and foremost, Mr. Bashiru, my deep condolences to you for the loss of the first lady, NGC's first lady. And I don't say when they go through a sad moment at this time, and for taking time off from that for come on this program at least. It show how much passion you get for Salon and for C Salon and go on before. And moving on from there, Prince, I think one of the areas where this whole program in particular Salon what they're missing is our protesters or demonstration what they talk about. A lost focus. I don't think the protesters they actually they know waiting at the targets where they need forget if they want for protest or when they want for protest. I mean, coming back to waiting Bashiru just the comment on. I mean, I'm so happy that when Bashiru remind you, say, most of these things where they happen is a spillover from waiting be done they happen, and in fact, it's just been perfected now as we get
And I
Salone.
wonder why you happy when they remind me. Can
No,
you clarify?
I'm happy because when Bashiru they
Mhm.
remind you, you know they tell Bashiru say, but then they be old thing, not to now we they talk about now because you can never prepare the
When,
now.
Mr. Karim, for goodness sake, when have you come on this show? When you see,
No,
come
I'm
on,
talking.
man.
I'm
You,
talking about. Okay, listen. Let's go for the progress of this program. Let's go before. I would say, but I just happy we don't know that. Okay, moving
oh,
for
Mr.
Prince.
Karimu.
Now let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Yeah, Bashiru just don't tell you say. It don't tell we now in the audiences and say a lot of these things where they happen, and in fact Bashiru gets they try to figure out why just government them successive government as alone Naya and abroad self why they not they give protest clearance to people that for protest. Obviously, Bashiru is pointing the fact say waiting in the fear. Well, waiting in the fear is simple as compared to police. The trust will not there between the police and the civil populace. Now a big breakdown where they get towards this giving of police clearance or not. Police they give clearance in the end, then turn for be the target, the protesters, then they turn against them. We don't see that don't happen. Even on normal things, when nothing like that don't happen. And moving forward to this thing where Bashir they talk about Prince, I believe say moving forward, protesters then for they actually turn them gun to these very lawmakers that will get out of the country. Because these are the people where they make all this breakdown in laws, this breakdown in police clearance or what he said. Now then are the people that where they empower. Now then they support the power to them in it. So if then people then they shy away from their responsibilities, these are the people we they see now where people then they protest. They go to parliament because parliamentarians then they make the laws there. But if you get something we get for do with the state, you just want to go to the minister. You want to go to the minister only they deal with laws that we parliament don't make and enact. So yes, Bashir right for point out say these things that way they happen, these are things that we don't happen in the past, and it's just been perfected now. On the other side of it, why is it that people them, government after government, not just the give protest clearance to protesters, and just for buttress Bashir in what he said, yeah, Prince, since after Pakaba in time, no protest not ever be successful in a salon because they don't even give protesters any clearance. 90% of the successful protests that we don't happen on salon now outside salon.
Yeah.
90% of them are outside salon because they will never give you police clearance. Yeah. And let's face it, if you go now you request for a police clearance, then police say, okay, because of the problems that we didn't have freedom, we want for let go protest na Mashaka. That's another opera. Then go do them. Then go say, no, na freedom me want protest. Because we just don't have regard for law and
Mr.
order in the country.
Mr. Karimu, all along on this program, you just seem for the speculate. Mr. Bashiru has come with hard evidence.
No,
The
but
prognosis
Prince,
when the
Prince,
man make it predicated. No, I'm just telling you facts. You they speculate. You speculate on the woman matches them. You speculate say if they ask them for do this, they not go agree, then go go under. You know, and then you speculate. I mean, not speculation. Now you say, well, you glad the way Bashi will tell me. And nowhere in this program have we talked about yesterday and today regarding the protest. But
no,
I think I think
no.
you
This
missed
is not about
you missed
yesterday. This
fire
is
on
not
that.
about yesterday and today protest. What I said to you is not about this particular. Is I'm telling you about initially when people are making references to waiting, they don't make things they get bad by now. You're always and the other guys are always say, oh no, forget about yesterday. We are talking about now,
No,
and
no,
that's what
Mr.
Bashir
Mr.
just don't
Karimu,
remind you.
Mr. Karimu. What
Yeah.
you they try for doing at this public platform now for bring with personal conversation. Since
No,
you want to
this
bring
is
the
not
personal, no,
personal.
no, no, but that's exactly what you're doing. Hang on. For the record, your statement where you make is quite incorrect, very
Okay.
incorrect. My program, first of all, is called Then and Now. So I'm very much interested on yesterday and today and how we will look for solution going forward. So I don't dismiss easily when people talk about yesterday, where we can correlate with today for understand how we can find a solution. I don't easily dismiss them. What I am against and what I always tell you about is you always try to equate two evils. that two wrongs can make right. And I'm on the program now as in the watch we internationally. This has always been my stance. Every time I bring something to you, or when we're having a conversation, you always want to say, well, try them been do. I mean, in other words, they try for equate the same thing now. And I disagree with that fundamentally. I hope I've made myself clear on that. I believe in history, and we can go back into the history lessons. That's my point. But I'll come back again, here back to where we are regarding the right for protest, because this is what we're talking about. According to Bashiru and the statistics, it does say so. Now, especially African governments, they are very, very much against protest. But we know why, and this is the case where I've been trying to make, why people like can affect themselves to protest. Why they want for protest? If you get illegitimacy, you get inequality, social inequality, political inequality, no opportunities. People intend for gravitate towards one end. Now, this line they bring people and come together and they feel some grievance. And this is the point I'm trying to make. But on top of it, we all are aware and we agree, say, the need for get a police clearance for go perform whatever act they want for go perform out there. Police get an obligation for grant them the license based on waiting and not evaluate the situation on whether a public order, whether a pandemic, on health issues. They say, okay, we're not able to forgive you now. But it can be repetitive, like una also don't make. Since 2000 and Pakaba in time, there's hardly been any protest in the country. But does that mean there shouldn't be protest? Does that mean there shouldn't be change? Bashiru?
No, it doesn't mean there should be change. I mean, just because something happened yesterday, and not mean say this government for continual. I mean, you see, now one thing for me personally, we can make a laugh. We they discuss things as if not a surprise. If you left a tiger in charge of a sheep farm, don't be surprised the next morning when you come, you feel half of the sheep is gone. The point why the try to make here is now this. The question is, why are governments, the first question is, are governments really opposed to protest? Of course, all governments are, not only in Africa. That we don't,
so Roland, I hope you get that when we say scared. That was the idea behind it.
Now, the second thing now is, when you are opposed to protest, what should be your reaction? If you're a democratic government, what should be your reaction? Now, police clearance, like I say, is necessary. Now for safety, now for orderliness. But the problem we'll get, but this issue here, now the same problem we'll get across the board in African politics. The African government, they know very well that when they come in, they know their intention. Their intention is for enrich themselves, get their friends and colleagues in power. They know that they're going to break the law. They know that citizens are going to be disappointed. They know that they're not going to achieve satisfactory employment levels. They know that people go for. So what do? Now, when they see African government, the first thing what they do, the first priority, now for usurp state institutions, then they begin with the police, get their friends and the political allies in position.
So let me pause you. Let me pause you there. I know because this is not a topic where they interest the three of us, and we can go on and on and on. But just on that point, say where you don't make. On the basis of that alone, how do we expect the people to get clearance from a police who is go against them?
That's what I'm trying to say.
So my question, no, we understand that, Bashiru. So my question now, I want to take on to Roland. In terms of what Bashiru just say, you've got an unfriendly police, an unindependent police, an unindependent media. How will the people get the permit for protest? They can't wait. They can't wait forever.
Yes.
Well, first and foremost, Prince, I disagree with Bashiru on the statement where it makes with the police for say and the police are unfriendly in terms of how do we expect them? Well, in your view, how we expect them to give police clearance to protesters? Prince, let we know say the police that we are dealing with, or let's just put Salone as a case study here because we are dealing with Sierra Leone. Yeah, it's the same police that we've had from way post-war, from 2000, from way war done as alone. It's the same Israeli police force we've had.
But they've got
The
worse.
same
That's the
police.
point. I don't know the analogy where you want to make. They went
Yeah,
under
but hold
reform.
on,
They were
hold on.
trained under Pakaba and the rest of it, and we had a formidable force which was reckoned to serve and to protect. Gradually, they not retrogress back into what we know about the 1980s. This is where we are heading.
They've not retrogressed, Prince.
Okay.
That's the opinion. I mean, this is what I say. You say I always try for assume. This what are the tribe that answer Bashir in area, Prince. Police force Nasalon has always been the police force up till now.
Yeah.
The reason waiting we get with the police and the protesters there, right? We don't respect, we as citizens them will not respect institutions and asylum. This is where the problem lies.
Do the politicians
Exactly.
respect the law?
What are you talking about, my friend?
But
Wait,
listen,
Mr. Roland.
Yes.
Do the politicians respect the law?
Well, that's subject to interpretation.
But who's supposed to set the example?
but listen, Prince,
Yeah.
if you're asking the police, if you're asking the police to give you permission to demonstrate or to protest, and the police in their view already know, say, by them give you that permit for protest, it get for cause problem, right? I'm not saying they know you're going to do it, but based on their estimation, based on which they know, then decide, okay, you know what, at this material time, we're not going to give you this thing, right? Yeah. Obviously, that is a problem. So this is where the mistrust is. I want something, you say, you know, they give me, I know say you get them. So I say you agree with me. If I put it in the layman's term, you agree with me, you get something for Guinea. You say you know one Guinea. This is where the mistrust is. So now, getting to Bashiru inside, and like I always say, if we allow our institutions to be strong, all these things will go about will not go for the top bottom.
Roland,
yes.
I want you for keep on professional. You they link too much on your left and your head don't go above the rim.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get a fair balance, and then you need for shift a little bit on your right.
So this is the thing. The disregard for institutions that we get, especially the police force, because this same police in between 2007 to 2018, this same police now they will be the grumble, but with the same thing, nothing has changed.
Thank
the
you.
only thing we don't change now the police, now the IG, now don't take now a different IG we get, but it's the same police, the same laws, and from 2018 to now, it's the same police again. The one that we've been accused saying now they don't make the police and the this and that. Now they don't turn the one they now for blame the police and the police they are against them. So you get to ask yourself this question. No, you get to ask yourself this question, Prince. What is wrong?
Go on.
Yeah, what is wrong between?
So okay. Yeah, ask the question. Ask me the question. What is wrong? You not finished. Sorry.
No. I say we get for ask yourself why make this same police day and night. Now the same police we don't they deal with. Where different government come. The opposition always they cry foul, or the people that way they try to enforce change and they cry foul. The same people that they cry foul when they find themselves in opposition, they had not changed it to the same police 90 days again, then come with the same accusation on the police.
Okay,
so
well,
hang on, Mr. Roland give you a little bit of a historical lesson, but let me dwell into the history just for maybe a minute, or probably even less. And it come in the form of a question. You will agree, say the police go through reform after the interregnum, will you?
Of course. They do.
Were there any changes when they go through that reform day? Or was there an objective where they set themselves during that point day, and was the objective they achieve them?
To a great extent, yes.
So but again now, the question I go ask you, so over a period of time, beginning from the APC government of Ernest Bai Koroma, coming to His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, that the police, I used the word earlier, you refuse, but I'll take you back and I want to coax you and bring you come before maybe we will see light, that the police is retrogressing because from Usai Pakababi left and when they do the reform, then they under Keith Bidul, they revamp, they rehaul the police because the police wasn't a force for good prior to the interregnum. In fact, one of the issues that we make will go fight a war for 10 years, where we tend for the forget at this point. Now, because a police, when an institution will be supposed to serve and protect, became highly political, in which the IG at the time been the Sidona parliament and became a decision maker, which was very, very wrong. And we went to war and then revived the police, then reformed the police. And now what will they see? Can you compare that to Pakabai era, the police under Pakabai era, even though it been developed? Will you compare that, Mr. Karimu? Violence, hard-handed police, torturing police, brutality. Take your own citizen here, the box and a gun. Take magazine, they knock you citizen here and a gun. But a woman then a police in youngling die.
Prince.
When you compare then and now?
Mr. Pikila coming.
No, this question, no, hang on, you will come in, you will have your chance. Mr. Karimu, the simple question is, are they under Pakaba, where you don't agree, say they reform the police, even though you use a certain caveat to a certain extent, but at least there's some agreement there. And I be wonder you look at the police under Anesco Oma and under Julius Maada Bio, don't you see a reverse of all the progress we will make?
No. And I can tell you why.
The answer is no. Did you say no?
No. Then yes, no. And I can tell you why.
Why not? Go ahead, please.
When we get back from 1996 out, none of the institutions then not be single-handedly independent to Sierra Leoneans for as how they run there now. The IG now be keep bid will be get. So police was not free like unless we get free hand with the routines. Unless actually started the whole thing. If anything before change in that country there, and these people that before follow up. The army chief of staff now be foreigner. So the army was not free to Sierra Leone for run their own affairs, right? A lot of the institutions key institutions that will be get, they were run by foreigners there. So when you're talking about the reverse trend, we're talking if you're to make any parameters, it has to be between 2007 to now. Nothing to do with Pakaba in your time. Because Pakaba in your time, that now be the reform times there.
Yeah, but there was a reason beyond the reform. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bashiru.
Yeah, and guys, we are going around in circles. Look, and I want you all to understand. We've never had a democratic police force or democratic government in the history of Sierra Leone. The mentality of governance in Sierra Leone is not conducive for let we get the kind of things we argue for now. You're not going to have a democratic police in Sierra Leone under the kind of political system.
Bashiru. Just for bring you, no, hang on, please. Just for bring you, I do agree with you, but that's not what we are talking about.
No, they come. I'm coming. The reason we get the problem, as I say, all governments, they're against protest. But in other countries, because politicians, they're not able to influence the government, the police, just like how we young government are able to influence the police. Now, even though abroad, government are opposed to protest, never going to see protest go on. Because abroad, the police, they assess case by case according to the merit of the case. Then they give the police clearance without without political influence.
Because the police is independent.
In Sierra Leone, as in most of Africa, politics is based on one thing: propaganda. The image of people protesting is negative. So, and the mentality or the system of Sierra Leone or Africa, the government, they're not applied. They're not follow the law. They're not applied to.
Can we take a look at the Constitution and what the Constitution say, Chapter 3? And they talk about the Constitution.
No,
hold your thoughts right there. It's the same thing. Give me a break. Let me control the program, please.
Yeah.
So the Constitution, Chapter 3, talks about whereas every person in Sierra Leone is entitled to the fundamental human rights and freedoms of the individual. That is to say, they have the right, whatever their race, tribe, place of origin, political organization or opinion, color, creed, or sex, or subject to respect for the rights and freedom of others. So in other words, we get we right as other people and get it right. The A to C to D there, I wonder we focus on B for tonight's program, which is the freedom of conscience, of expression, and of assembly and association. Remember, say this now under an express right under the Constitution. So the people they get a right and obligation. So is the police with the right and obligation. The police cannot continue for deny because under the ambit of the law, yes, they can say because of health pandemic, because of this security reason. The question is how long and how many times can they do it? And I say here that the people have got a right to take to the streets in a peaceful assembly and express themselves, not infringing or impugning on the rights of others. Yes, they can.
Of course, as I don't say, nobody no go disagree with you, Mr. PK. Say all the way don't list. So of course, every citizen in Sierra Leone get a right to protest. But I want you to understand. The reason why we get bad governance in Sierra Leone, not because we not get the laws. We have, if that law number, we get every law in that book where they enable we for be a democratic society. Let things be done properly. We don't need more laws. We get the laws that we need for let our country be governed democratically and productively. The problem what we get, the lawmakers, the governments that what they get, they not get interest in following the law. And what they enable them for let them pursue that disrespect for the Constitution, now the ability for control, disable the state institutions where suppose for they keep them in check. Now the whole explanation of this, we got the laws where they give everybody rights, where they say this and that and give all the correct directions. We don't need any more laws. We got everything we need in that book for let our country be governed, correctly. So because the governments are what they get, not they follow the Constitution, then they break the laws willy-nilly. Now, and they no say they go for do that. They no say they go for do that. They no say what I don't say. They no say
you have to round up. No, wait, lad, don't wait. It's time constraint, my friend.
When they're in governance, they no say they go for oppress the opposition. So what do? And the opposition and the only means of redress what we get now for going to court or for go to police. Well, if the government of the day get the police in their pocket, get the courts in their pocket, get the civil service in their pocket. Now you gonna understand what to make them feel emboldened for refusing police clearance, for infringing on your rights,
Mr. Bashiru,
A, B, and C,
Mr. Bashiru,
impunity. So
Mr. Bashiru, hold your thoughts right there. Mr. Bashiru, hold your thoughts right there. Mr. Bashiru, hold your thoughts right there. Roland, you heard the other guest. If the police then are the pocket of the politician, the judiciary then are the pocket of the politician, and the rights of the people are not being met, the needs of the people are not being met, and we agree say under the Constitution the people get a right to assembly for express their opinion. How can they under these circumstances? Which other way?
Well, Prince, in as much as I support a lot of the assertions that we Bashiru make, but I still stand for that. Disagree with Bashiru and you on the issue of police and institutions and being inside the pockets of the ruling government or any government where they empower at that material time. I mean, I stand for disagree with that. Here are my reasons why I disagree with these things, because I still they try to ring this now. I mean to you, Prince. You see, we get for start for the get confidence in the institutions that we want for let govern, i.e. like the police. When there is a breakdown, the police and the civil populace, that are me, you, and the other people there. This is where this whole thing starts from. And like we all don't rightly point them out, the constitution where we get, like Bashir be point them out, we not even need for get experts then for come now country for can't tell what we for do. If only we foresee them and say, you know what, let's be nationalistic for 1 minute and just go with waiting the insider constitution there, right? And let's move away a bit from there again. Let's hold our lawmakers then to task. Yeah, I have never seen in that country, Prince, any of this with civil society, any of these people that would they protest. You know what's in today? Them politicians that we don't go make lawyer and say let them get $15,000 per year. We then say they for travel inside business class. Me where they now are not able to buy one bag rest. If them before cargo bill in a parliament wait for say you know what's in every civil managing director, every minister or this that we get law now with the slash you pay from this to this for let able bring that into social social security network. Funds for let able do something for Winaya. Yeah. I have not seen any one of them people in there. But yesterday, they praising these very MPs, we don't go enrich themselves. When they made the bad laws, the way they go against with them, then when they turn around, they blame police. So to me, Prince, I still stand on my legs for Stelly say, this issue of police, it has been there from 2007 up to now what they talk to, and it's the same police, it's the same laws, it's the same police refusing to give permission to people and for protest for reasons, to me, from what I see, police day for protect lives and property, right? If they don't see and say most of the people are not for the, you ask yourself one question: why you and Bashiru? I want just asking this question: why make us within a UK now? When there is protest now, the suburbs and the poorer areas and this it becomes politically charged. But when there is a protest in affluent areas, then it goes normal because when you go to vulnerable places like that, like Tottenham, will be the last protest will be take place in Tottenham. You know, say thieves then they inside it. You get bad people and you get ex-convicts when they go inside for cause mayhem. That's exactly what you will get in a salon. You go allow protest inside Freetown.
But the only difference is they gave them the right to protest.
Yeah, no, but before you give that right, you know why they give the right, Bashiru? Before you give them the right, Prince, before you give them that right, Bashiru, before police they give that right there, they already don't do them feasibility studies and see say, okay, this is not the route that they take. Then don't go put and call them something. We know say you know they go off that barrier. If they know say yeah na target area,
we can do the same in Sierra Leone. We can do the same.
Yeah, but exactly. Roland. Just for out of what you say again about the protest na North London, there's extensive studies. I agree with some of the point that you make, but there's extensive study where also say police heavy-handedness now in can turn the protest nasty and make the protest violent. And sometimes government plant people them inside the protest and direct the protesters they out for go. It's well documented. I am telling you objective facts. Roland. Yes. I am telling you objective facts, my friend. And not just they make speculations. I'm telling you, studies conducted in England and the United States, Black Lives Matter is well documented and not upon speculation, and upon objective facts. Mr. Bashiru, you hear a lot waiting Roland say. You probably want to address that? Some of it?
Mr. Roland, you make some points where man can easily debunk because it actually makes the point. For example, you say, North London, the protests were violent. And indeed, in fact, like when Mr. Krumade talk, when the police did the analysis that the Tottenham protest, of course they knew there were some miscreants amongst them, some people they call him in. But what did they do? Because of that sacrosanct state of the right to protest, that they want to protect, that are paramount. What did the police force they do? Then they come up with ways for contain the problem. Okay, with a good and right to protest, but like what you say, that this one is supposed to do. So what they've done there, they've allowed you to exercise your freedom, but then they use the power they get for control you while they protest. In Sierra Leone, they're not that interested in engaging in containing. Not the interest in containing it. They don't want the process itself because it will show the come. Because it will show the government in bad light. So the difference is very clear. Here is one institution where they say, okay, we not say when I get troublemakers, but it is your right to protest. So what will they do? Will they come out in force and ensure say when I follow this route, when I not go so, they say they make them, but then allow them to protest. So in Sierra Leone, they come. In Sierra Leone, the point is that is not the interest of the police. The interest is stop the protest, period. So now what they do, they come out with all gimmicks. And like you had some very comical example during the Ebola time. The APC government say, well, you know, when I not say people that be on protest towards the end, when I remember this incident, they said they use the Ebola issue for say freedom of movement, that kind of stuff. So we understand. But on the same day, the INEC
There we go.
the INEC because
Very good one.
Because the one where they support the APC government, they allowed them for protest. But then so the COVID, the Ebola law not apply to the whole. But the one that went for protest against the APC government, they use the COVID law. That is what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, Eleka will look at this. The mentality is when one government is in power, they know that the protest they don't want. Not to, so then they only use the law and safety for create a kind of excusable point for stop the protest. So their aim is not to ensure safety and orderliness. They're going to put them. The aim is the protest itself not to go ahead. Period.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let me do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much
But
for
Prince, before you go, I just want to make a small clarification from Bashir.
Sure.
With the statement where Prince makes the reason why, I mean, whether there is this kind of notion, say, when government, when people like in the protest, they can get some miscreant that we can inside when our government can somehow try to micromanage them for just cause mayhem, for blame on something. I think Prince, you made something like that. Bashir, you buy any idea in that? You believe there's any truth in that? For say there are people in that within the protest procession where they say then they for do things them just for blame them on for say the organizers of the protesters and they don't do this.
Well, I don't get any specific evidence for say a particular government don't do this. But what we know, you and me know, between APC and SPP, you've had, we know say if there have been well, as I say, stories. As I say, I don't get any direct evidence for talk say yes.
Actually, we don't make a long. Ask you yes or no.
If you trade SPP protest or cause me, let them blame on the but that we don't.
Thank you. It's as simple as ABC. I like the way how you put them, but I help you with that small again, Mr. Karimu. Because first of all, you feel saying that the SLPP government now they accuse say they make them kind of remarks than they, and the remark was general. And I don't tell you say a lot of studies has been conducted internationally, even at the West. And security-wise, you're supposed to notice that every protest, then they plant people inside, both for the for and the against. Police or the authority they can want for let the protest take a kind of shape where go make them for intervene. Now just common sense. They do that all the time in America, in Germany, in England. So come on, look it up. There are conclusive studies, Princeton, Harvard, Oxford, and it tells you that. Not all speculation, objective facts. But let me take a quick break and then read some comments then from the audience, and then we will come back. And just before I do that, I want to pay a tribute to the late Madam Philomena Keller, a towering figure, married to in a relationship with Dr. Kande Keller, as I understand, for over 40 years. I believe that her remains will be interned this weekend in Bo, but Bashir will give you a highlight on that shortly. But let me just have a quick look and pay memory to the late Madam Philomena Keller. I always said that at a time when the doctor need in wife most, this is the time that she's left. But we Motaman, we know little bit, now God now know all, and God know the reason. And on behalf of this TV media empire, I want to say, express me deepest condolences, which I've already done to Dr. Kande Keller personally, and I'm really happy that he responded to that. But at this public time, for express me deepest condolences on behalf of the management and staff of this particular studio, and we global audience to the memory of the late Mrs. Kande Keller, Philomena Kande Keller. May her soul rest in perfect peace, and may light perpetual shine on her. Bashir, you want for give me update as to what will happen on Friday in Freetown, leading to the burial in Abo. You want for give me update as to what will happen on Friday in Freetown, leading to the burial in Abo.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, You know, I'm very grateful to Mr. Kuruma for, you know, drawing public attention to this tragedy where it happened at our party, and like a loss to the nation as well. As Mr. Kuruma don't talk, on obviously Thursday, now Freetown, the ceremony then will focus. We'll get a vigil, and then a church service in Freetown. Then Friday, the body will be moved in a convoy from from Freetown to go at St. Pius Church. Then on Saturday, now we'll get the layout ceremony. We'll start again, there will be church services and other events. And finally, the lady will be laid to rest in Bo City. So now the summary of that. But what I will just say to the audience, the global audience, now this, you know, the late lady, now be a great philanthropist. As we all know, now be a woman where deeply dedicated to humanitarian services, community projects, and I've been director of the Lania project, women that run services for girl picking them, for the poor, defenseless. She was a great feminist, women that stand for the right of women and actually advocate against the traditional mentality towards women in society. Now being a great progressive thinker, where we want to rise above the limited views of politics of Sierra Leone and view each other as bona fide citizens of the country. We deserve the rights at all points in time. I've been a very affectionate wife. We've been respectful and loving, obviously towards her husband. Above all, she was a human being. She was a mother. So this week, we're not a cry, we're not a mourn again. We want to celebrate in life and allow them for live through us perpetually by keeping alive the projects them way in the run, the Lania project, for continue to provide services to the needy in society. Now, in make this week, we refer to as the week of fond memories for the late lady. Thank you very much.
Well, that was the voice there of Mr. Bashiru Vandi of the National Grand Coalition of Dr. Kande Yunkela, paying tribute to the wife of the Dr. Kande Yunkela, the late Madame Lomina Yunkela. And once again, in behalf of this platform, we express we deepest and profound condolences to the entire nation, like Bashiru Putam. I mean, it's a loss to the country. Absolutely agree with that statement. And also to all the NGCians and the rest of the international community, the fans and the staff here on this particular platform. For one final time, may the soul of the late Mrs. Kande Yunkela rest in perfect peace. Thank you very much, Bashiru. Again, ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you now, we talk about the right of protest. And the right for protest, specifically in our country, in Sierra Leone. But just before we come there, I just want to read few acknowledge few people on the platform here tonight, and maybe their comments. I will not miss them. They could be helpful towards this program. We get Carl Fofana. Good evening. Let's help to share this program. Okay. Many thanks, Carl. Abubakar Z says watching. Good evening, live from Istanbul. Wow, Istanbul. Hello, Istanbul. Thank you very much. That's in Turkey. Mega Rogers Wright. Good evening. Yeah, good evening, Mega Rogers Wright. That's a new name. Welcome to the platform. Sister Kadiatu Jallo, a familiar voice on the platform. Good evening, everyone watching from Bamansi. Bamansi, hey! Mohammed Adams, the Southeasterners do protest and the police never stop them. But the same police stop Northwesterners not to. Why? Mr. Karimu.
Yes.
Oh, you're not being a follow. Anyway, let me just move on.
I follow you. I follow you about the protest now Southeast way allowed and the protest now North way not allowed.
Yeah, so when I call you, I've been just saying maybe you have a view on that.
No, well, again, now one of the things that now would divide within that country, we don't need that because there's no room for that. And
Thank
I
you
don't
very
think
much.
that's for debate. We're looking at Sierra Leone as a country. if there's a protest we don't go on at the southeast, and protest don't happen at the north, you get to look at the reasons as why make protests go on at the north and not go on at the
Fair,
south.
fair point. Mohammed Sisse, why are you so disingenuous to the people of this country? I don't know who Mohammed Sisse was addressing this to. Baki Barry, this idiot is a real fool. Wonder who he's speaking to. Delwyn Thomas, good evening. By Kamara, Abdul Simon Kamara, and 18 other people are watching. Many thanks to all of you that are watching. Jocelyn Williams is watching. Kanu Horatio George is watching. Samuel Bangura, there is no violent protest. You can say riots. Yes, I agree. Because protest can metamorphose into violence. And that's what the police don't want sometimes. And I think saying that Karimu been a try for say, if the police don't evaluate the situation and see say it go eventually turn into a riot, then they can deprive people. But even the police, the action them can make the protest, a peaceful protest, turn to a violent riot, to a protest. Delwyn Thomas, the narrative that one party in Sierra Leone is less dictatorial than the other is a myth. Bashiru,
Yeah.
you agree with that sentiment? This narrative that one party in Sierra Leone is less dictatorial than the other is a myth.
Well,
one party is less dictatorial than the
well,
other.
let's say it is a myth to say one government in Sierra Leone is less dictatorial than the other. Because when you say party, there are parties that have never been in governance. So I agree with the premise, say there is no difference in mentality. You see, the
Okay,
human
not
being.
go to the Bashir because I know you want to fly. Hang on right there. Mohammed Nia is watching.
Yeah.
Eddie Michel is watching. Aliu Conte is watching. Sahid Nabi Samura is watching. Michaela Sisse watching. John Sisse watching. Delwyn Thomas. That is wrong, Mr. Karimu. It is not the lawmakers who have largely been sidelined. We have a presidential system, not a true parliamentary system. This was addressed to Mr. Karimu.
No,
Musa
well,
Hassan.
I disagree with that individual, Prince.
Okay, I believe say.
Hang on, Mr. Do you disagree with the statement that we have a presidential system, overwhelming in Sierra Leone instead of a parliamentary system? Is that incorrect?
No. We have a presidential system in Sierra Leone, but equally so, we get the lawmakers where they make the presidential system works. Let
me explain what the speaker is saying.
A parliamentary system is different from a presidential.
I come. We are not
there's a difference between. Continue this.
Yeah, there's a difference between the presidential system and the parliament. We know that.
Absolutely.
That is not what the guy is referring to. What he is saying, in other words, in Sierra Leone, the power invested artificially and corruptly in the executive is not just overwhelming, it's exhaustively corrupt. Now that's
okay. William point noted, Mr. Bashir. Musa Hassan is watching, Issa Kamara is watching, Wanda Manti is watching, Alimatu Kamara is watching, Ransford Clemens is watching, Princess Kanda is watching, Mabinti Sisse is watching, Ibrahim Goodman Sanko is watching, Bang Zumar is watching, Timo Sachs is watching, Abubakar Sisse is watching, Teresa Jabate is watching, Barista B. Kamara is watching. And please leave your comments. Listen, Famulem, before I come back again to the guests, them, let me try for the left comments them, pan the place so we know exactly where we are. What will they do right, what will they do wrong? And use the emoticon. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What you like, what you not like. Let's start engaging. This is going to be fruitful. This is going to be beneficial. The outcome is going to be quite impressive. But until we continue for engage, we will not enjoy them benefits in the. So anyway, Fambulem, back to reality. We've been to talk about the right for protest under the ambit of the law. But the law, even though it gives provision for associate, for assemble, for disagree, for vent we opinion, it still say we get for doing within the confines of the law. And this very, very delicate part for tread around, which both sides can try for use, but especially the ones with power, Because we get for members say, in this situation, the only thing where the people they get now the power for make government inconvenient, for hold government accountable. Making government inconvenient now by protesting. The protest, when they say inconvenient, does not have to be or by interpretation mean violent. No. You assemble, you picket, you hold your placard, you march left, right, or as how police then direct to now. And where I mean they say earlier on that people like can do them on their own if police not give clearance because you march is going to be peaceful, although you still subjected to be arrested, even though you go look funny because it's peaceful. As long as you not impugn on the rights of others. In other words, somebody they sell the market and then you go kick the market come on a road because you want pass. They know you can match at that same place there when you reach to somebody, you count down, you claim back up. This is how it works. Mr. Karimu, now London recently, because the reason why I want to ask you this question, I talk about inconvenient in government, and you not be agree with me. In fact, you make it clear. So I want to ask you this question. Recently in London, we witnessed the trade union protest, the RMT, we go on strike, and this is something we're very familiar with. Then go on strike, and we know how much they inconvenient the government and inconvenient the people then. So the idea about strike, about protest, is to inconvenient a situation so that you will get a desirable outcome. You don't think say the same thing applicable in Sierra Leone?
Well, it's very much applicable, just like what you say, Prince. If that is a way you go make your opinion known to the authorities and say, this now A, B, C, D are they against, and because of this, I need for let you address, let you look into my grievances. Yes, but again, it comes with responsibility, like you rightly put. Me are very privy to this RMT something because me I work for one of the organizations, them right now. You not see them send anybody say go on the street, go do this. Sit at home, right? But guess what they do? They made alternate provision, but very limited for people that forget about their normal businesses, right? If I believe so, they give that open hand to police there again, not to for say you come this week, yeah, say you want protest next tomorrow, right? They give police like 1 month, 2 months, say, so them at the camp to camp protest. No, I mean, Bashir, this might not sit down well with you, but we are looking at, we want the force to work for us. You understand? And we are making
now forget the police 2 month notice.
No. It's a suggestion I make. You understand me? If we really want it to work, but put it this way, Prince. Yeah. I mean, you come into look, Bashiru. Let's look at this particular subject we discuss now. Yeah. Let's just take this interest area off from this whole thing and be very real with we said before event leading to this announced June 4th protest, right? We've been get people they talk about before on the political side of things. There's no political platform or forum where you go approach. We're not to bash, then they bash the government, the police, the this, the that about things. You understand? Let's just get this right. Now, then this fear issue come in. It begin to shoot up. I mean, every 1 week, the next minute, new price they come up. This they come up. So that's Bashiru put together is set the undertune for say, should there be any protest, it will get violence. And don't forget, we don't have the police number for man protesting at the country, considering the amount of troublemakers that will get in that country. We don't have the police force for.
So let we agree with that, Mr. Karimu. And the reason why I ask you that opening question, it will always be predicated on the answers them way eventually go come out or the expected, kind of a result. And Bati will highlight that many times. It's because governments are not in the business of doing the right thing. If they were in the business of doing the right thing, it will act for letting get them protested in at the hand, or even if they will allow people to protest, then go gladly for do them because it was so limited in scope and the at all. For governments, it's probably they see shadows. But let me ask you this, and we don't need 2 months for ask government for protest. 6 days, 7 days at most is enough for ask government for protest. Government can turn that down or can plot a route, say, but una can't use this route and we go police una. That's what it is. So that 1 week the government don't do is surveillance, don't do who they involve, the people the way they plan them, and are they responsible as well. They come with responsibility, like they rightfully say. obligation. Bashiru, can we challenge, government and seek a judicial review for look into this thing here? I'm not saying you're not a lawyer by profession, but just on the basis of common sense, like challenging government somehow, or maybe we MP them, like Roland Mini say, so that we can seek a judicial review on the right for protest, so we go get a clear-cut picture, so that we're not going to get a kind of back and forth here. Do you think
Uh,
it's a possibility?
the simple answer to your question is, if you're asking me, can we or do we want to? There are two different meanings. Yes, we can from our point of view, but can we alter the entrenched system as it is? No, not until we get people in leadership where want for democratize the situation, the system of governance. If we get a system like Sierra Leone, ladies and gentlemen, this is now a fundamental problem. This, politics in Sierra Leone, with perception of her, now in the root cause of a problem. Politics, because of the lack of opportunities that Sierra Leone, the limited nature of the private sector, the overwhelming dependence on the public sector, opportunities not anywhere else pass in politics. Now there you go. If you want to work in Sierra Leone, the private sector is limited. Now government, you go to if you now the easiest way to find job. So if you want as a business person, you want contract, based on your ability as a company for be productive or for deliver. Now contracts we get within the government. If you want sababu here and there, if you get political connection, it'll work for you easier. So politics has become the be-all and the end-all in society. So the very people where we rely on, now you go to parliament, you go say, well, can we influence our parliamentarians? Apart from very few, but in this, it comes back to that presidential and parliamentary system. Because of the overwhelming power of the executive, Sierra Leone, especially the president, we almost get all the powers. Even the MPs, their livelihood, their sustenance in power, unfortunately, is automatically linked to the success of the executive. Because if the executive collapses, then the fear says that's how they go. So what happens? The lawmakers automatically become embedded with the government. So they vote with the government in lawmaking. Then they carry on, they do the government in bidding in parliament. So the idea of a parliamentary system is the idea of the parliament being, playing the oversight role, but in Sierra Leone, a mockery. Because under each of these governments, parliament has always rubber stamped what the government wants. Under an excrement under this government. If this government wants something, I will bet say the vast majority of SLPP MPs go vote for them, whether or not they are opposed to it in principle. Why? Because opposing a government's bill or government agenda is contributing to the downfall of the SLPP government. You see, so there is a complex system in the political system where they make what the voter want or not want almost irrelevant. We get a system, a political system, we're completely detached from the electorate. The only time when the electorate is needed or used, now during election time, they are there doing their own thing. You get me? So, for say, can we influence? Well, we can try, but there is very little chance of us succeeding, because politics in Sierra Leone, most of the MPs, the privilege where they get now, it depends on the SLPP being governance. The same applies to the APC. With all the puskas where the APC will do, they were voted, all the laws where they passed, APC MPs will vote for all of them. Why? Because of the benefit from the system. So that in parliament, most of them do not act or pass laws or do things in the interest of the nation. They
Okay.
do it in the interest of the party they represent. So how
Okay.
are you going to change such a
So,
system?
so Bashiru,
Yeah.
Bashiru, if I can just interject you there, the premise where they lay right now, with the subject what they discuss now, with this protest where they blame say police not they give clearance to the protesters.
Yeah.
Now, on which grounds you they blame police for them not honoring the request of the protesters then, or you they blame the government for having overwhelming influence on the police for not granting that the way to serve?
Very, very simple answer, sir. The answer to your question are this: the police, the government, the parliament, they're interlinked. Now, is it, you know, why would they get protest? Last I tell you how the police of the day and the government of the day they share. Now the opposition and they protest against you because they're not like we. They are not looking at the subject of the protest. They are looking at the protesters. Now, nobody knows in Sierra Leone, we go talk say hardship not there. None. SLPP supporters, APC supporters, and all man not say it is true. Say economic hardship is worsening, it's getting worse.
Yeah,
Bashiru,
Bashiru, with a fastly run out of time, and we get few other
so
areas.
now,
You've addressed,
so now,
if you want lecture, you've addressed the issue already, and that's at the bottom line. And once you don't address as such, if you want to not see as such, because again, the beginning of the show, that was it. That was the entail of the question. Waiting at the problem why people then go
Well,
protest. Why
Prince,
government don't go allow them for
from the beginning
protest.
of the program, I tell you the political undertone with here, the opposition influence on these protesters. We see them with Femi Claudius Cole, when an opposition leader, when an instant of this whole thing. So based
Now
on
the
what
question now I'm
Bashiru
bring
they
out
say,
to you now. Exactly that question
no,
is. So
based
maybe
on what
you can
Bashiru they say,
just
I just want to refer Bashiru to this thing, right? If Bashiru they say there's a synergy between the state, the police, and the judiciary, yeah. Then with this protest,
no the
yes, we know the things are hard in the country, Prince. Nobody know they deny that things are hard in the country. It is all over, right?
the
But
three
waiting
arms
hard
of
in the
government,
country, waiting hard in the
the three
country.
arms of government, this guy for highlight to you, based on the question you ask them, that all day in time, and the chief of them there, we all know it. Needless for maybe for the benefit of others, we don't know. But anyway, Mr. Karimu, you emphasize the issue of me. Since we talk about the peace and protest and family center of the event, this question maybe something together.
You can't broken, Prince.
yeah, you break up,
Okay, sorry about that. Is it any better maybe I mean internet in a play up or maybe fan? It's not hot in the studio. So let me turn that side. Is guys?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, since Femi Claudius called in at this of this protest before we talk about protest.
Oh my God!
Um,
It
get me?
it is still okay.
Break up.
Yeah.
You man will continue the discussion. I think we're on the floor and you continue to try for next. Continue.
Oh. Okay. So, Mr. Karimu, the bottom line, you know, the situation of our country is very clear. If we remove the political lens and view Sierra Leone objectively, it's very easy to analyze the problem. But the problem what we get, I mean, I'm glad the way you make mention of something. You said the same police will get so today. Now the same police from 2007, yes?
Yeah, 1997, if you can take that way.
But now listen, when the same police will do exactly what they do now, the same one when they protest them today, then they support them then. Yes, the general government academy they talk. The police need, and then they need to get police clearance for law and order. The same one, and now they say, why may they ask for police clearance? This is our problem. The system we see they change. However, the political nepotism within the system, wherein if you participate in power, elect something bad happen, you for defend. If you're there in a position, you oppose. We are not solving the problem. We are just
Bashir, sorry it doesn't come this way for say because in this case, I'm not saying this because for say, okay, yes, by association I'm with SLPP because SLPP didn't have power. We get for support within SLPP. I think the crux of the issue here is why people protest and why why the authorities know they give them clearance for letting them protest. We are trying to know these two event the way they happen on the part of the police. Waiting at the reason, because police must get reason as to why they know they give it, they know they grant permission for letting protest. That's one, yeah. On the side of the protesters and back, why people they want protest? But again, Bashir, I wonder if we dig deep, you understand that these people are not just protesting because it's because of economic hardship. Because now before economic hardship, we've had it all throughout the years.
But Mr. Karimo, and this is where you are making a fundamental mistake.
No.
I understand your point, and I tell you, I agree with your point, but I tell you, say, relate to the issue. I totally 100% agree with you. Say, you get people when they support it, not because then they oppose it, they go on in principle. No, because when the same thing they happen on the APC, they didn't protest. So you're right in that aspect. But unfortunately, in a democratic setting, not a you they determine when somebody for protest. You don't determine that.
Yeah, but you now put it this way. Why do we not then sit down and look at another approach of getting our grievances and everything known to the authorities, but not through this? If we don't try the protest issue in our work.
No. Wait. Again, you see, you are being dictatorial there. If we don't try, no, hang on. When you say if we don't try, when me no want to protest stop, how you go say if we? That pronoun
no,
we.
But then if we don't want to protest, if we don't want to protest stop, we want to protest go ahead. What you feel? What we for do, Bashiru? One,
okay, that answer what you for do. Number one,
Goodness.
we for make. Why is that? If you not what you want to see, because I don't say it's not possible. Then can system again. Number one, the first way for happen. President of politics, not forget nothing for do with police clearance thing. In Sierra Leone, you know very well say the assessment of the request for police clearance is always influenced by politics. You know that very well, Mr. Karimo. You know that admit that, but you know that. On an APC, on that on the case. Now, according to what you have talked, we've never had a successful protest. Now, think about this, you said, hang on, how comes we've never had a successful protest according to you? You want to tell me, say, not one of those protests are legitimate? The reason why they've been always turned down and this and that, because the authorities then, in conjunction with the government of the day, no one let people then voice out their opposition. That is it, period.
And so what did they do? In the end.
And what did they do? If very clever, what did they do? With Constitution, to those when are Democrats, now a book where for be consistently followed at all times, whether or not it's in your favor. The law can be in your favor or not. But with authorities, they only use the Constitution when it's favorable for them. For example, like now, for talk about the need for law and order. Of course, we know that, but they only use them because they want to use them for stifle dissent, for quell dissent, opposition. But when it comes for letting use the Constitution for conduct free and fair elections, they don't follow them. Then they rig them, use violence. They come back. So what you for say to me is,
Yeah.
So what do I say to you now this? It's very simple. If you want to apply the law, like when you talk so, then let us do it consistently. When the application of the law is selective, then you have a problem. When you only apply the law because it is favorable for you, but then you disobey the law because it's not in favor, then like chaos.
Okay, then, Bashiru, let me bring you down to something, you and Prince. Have you guys actually sat down and asked yourself, why make the level of political intolerance what we get now?
Sorry, you went good. I'm not getting you properly.
The level of political intolerance.
Level of political intolerance.
What we get now. Have you actually asked yourself why from 2007 to 2018, relatively, the tension not be high as it is so, as compared to from 2018 to now? Have you sat down and asked yourself why? And I can give one. I will give time for let you with yourself. But here's what happens, Bashiru. Here's what happens. You know, when you get a government in opposition, when you get an opposition party, where anything so far we get to do with governance, to them, it's either them or no one else, right?
Yeah.
Why is SLPP being in opposition? I tell you, Bashiru, a lot of things that may happen, similar things that would happen, price increase, police brutality, these that may happen. But SLPP, being they address them thing in there, one, through by engaging international partners, engaging press conferences, you know, with the party itself, almost every week. John Benjamin was the chairman. Maybe they give press briefing them, they highlight all them thing in there. You understand? They've never been get boboed in a street, then we get boboed, they wouldn't take the like you rightly put and say, youth man, they don't take politics now as a way no more now for let them fend their way, right? But here is the difference, Bashiru. I'll give you a scenario. August 2018, shortly 2017, shortly before going to election na Salon. SLPP organized a talk show with Chatham House for Brigadier Bill for let Ekangi a talk na Chatham House. This will surprise you. The APC party now, then they in governance, then try for get clearance for them to demonstrate against Mother Bill. They did not get that. And you know what happened at Chatham House? These very embassy officials, senior embassy officials, they actually left Sierra Leone High Commission would have been at Eagle Street, and then go to Chatham House, go pray them small matter, then get them placards them, they demonstrate. This is not embassy official. Embassy way for be different from a political with itself, right? That shows you the level of politics we get in that country. Where I tell you, say, this thing where they happen. There is a politics underneath it, you understand me? Of course, the suffering is there, but 60 or 70% of this force will come in for this protest here. It get political lineage in it. Wherein, if you get a high commission, wait for work in the interest of the country, not an individual, then they go left for officials then they go protest. Now Chatham House, not to feke side. You understand what I mean? Come on, that tells you the kind of politics we're getting in that country.
Okay.
So the thing that when they say Naya, yeah, the way in which APC don't conduct themselves in opposition for just these last 3 years, it just don't make everything not become tension in the country. We accept say hard times be done did it. You understand me? But the way how they go about things, my brother. I mean, we should take Salon and we all young. Politics they come and go.
Okay, make answer the question. Make answer. You make 2 points. You say first you want to compare and contrast the level of political tension on the SLPP and on the APC. Number one. Then, secondly, you want to look at the way SLPP they would act in opposition and how APC they do so now. On both counts, on the face of it, I will agree with you. I will say yes. I mean, the political tension. I mean, internationally, SLPP has been a protest. But in the country itself, will not be get such very, what they can call in English,
And not be
incendiary.
volatile. The volatile situation of the day.
Yeah, that kind of, yes. But now, that's not because largely, I just make this difference. The old SLPP, they had a different approach to politics. But the method was different, or is different. But however, the outcome is the same. So for support what they talk, yes, SLPP be more quiet. Mr. Kanuri, I want to listen to this very carefully.
I didn't listen to you.
The SLPP in parliament, in the country, they were not as vocally aggressive like we get now. But how did that change the country? For example, in parliament, when they refer to the SLPP opposition as Momo opposition, you know that very well, also.
Yeah.
Why? Because nobody are reading. The other bad laws where APC in the past, left, right, and center, they should have been out there vocalizing it for us. They were quiet. So although yes, I'm going to come. So although yes, things were low, did it stop the outcome we'll get on APC? No, it didn't. So to me, although the method is different, the outcome remains the same. So I mean, and therefore, I'm not really interested in the procedure or the process. I'm interested in the outcome, because at the end of the day, that the outcome
Okay, guys. Okay.
in real life.
Okay, guys.
So let me answer that to that question. So it is.
Well,
it is
just point of correction, Bashiru. Just points of correction. SLPP not be, yes, we call them Mumu, we say, but here is the difference. You know, they been say SLPP MP they go fit na parliament like how APT they do. Thereby you make the whole thing open up. You make people and they have a mockery over the whole parliamentary system like what thing they do. The things that
so waiting. The question will be why is it happening now? We know clearly.
No. The question is why it was happening. It was happening then, but SLPP MPs were not outlaws as
it makes no difference, sir.
Yes.
It makes no difference.
No. Yeah, but
no. You can't say it makes no difference. It does make a difference. And Mr. Karim,
no.
Attention in Parliament. If APC
MPs, let me have a word here. You two guys have been having the back and forth. Let me have a word because we don't really run out of time. Mr. Karimu, first of all, Mr. Bashiru, you get for realizing Mr. Karimu is trying to make a point. And all along the question where they ask you the answer, they try for drive to one particular point, which is the SLPP is right and the APC is wrong. It not been happening then, but it is happening now. And the cause is all loss of a particular party. I think a lot of people will disagree with you, and that's somebody been trying for saying at the comment box that both parties are dictatorial. Both parties, they are sort of nasty in their approach, and they have been the problem for the descent and degradation of the state for the 60-some years that we've been in existence. We want that thing they, for agree with, then we can begin for look at the timeline. Say, oh, this don't rule for 40 years, that other one they don't rule for 20 years. But in other words, they are both responsible for the degradation of the state and the condition that we find ourselves. Mr. Karimu, back to the police and protests, we don't run out of time. You mentioned Femi Claudio School on many occasions, and of course, Imidin at the center of some row. And Fambulem will get Femi Claudio School here on Thursday. She'll be on the platform here, and tomorrow we get a CSO leader, Albangus, Marcos Bangura, will be on the platform here tomorrow, 9 p.m., same time. But Femi is here on Thursday. How you find the conduct of the police if you been watch Femi Claudio School in video where he pull out? Because you keep the say, and from what you understand, like he was inciting a protest of women them, where you speculate say you get the potential for make trouble. But from the video where the woman released, how you see the conduct of the police in and around in compound?
Well, the police were very professional and not just a normal routine operation that for police them. I mean, she claims to be a political heavyweight, right? So if you're not a political heavyweight and something of that nature, then the need for get you to start with, if you don't refuse for answer police call first. So immediately when you don't refuse for answer police call, if a get for take police for mount the entire police force for just make sure say they don't grab you. If they have the manpower and they get the resources, then can do them. We don't say it don't happen now. For over how many years? We then make sure say police at the station and one grain to more for make sure say one grain man Julian Assange for make sure say and immediately step in foot out of the building and go arrest them. It happen now. So if police get the resources for do them, then for do them. And I think the police acted professionally in regards to Femi Claudia school.
I find your response is very, very disingenuous, Mr. MN.
Well, that's your
Mr.
opinion.
Yeah, you go get your turn. You go get your turn, Bash.
Other people find it's not disingenuous.
Yeah, but I mean, you can disagree with me, and let me make the case why. And the analogy the way you make, you then fall flat on the face.
Oh, because say the police acted professionally.
I wonder who side the woman claims say she's an heavyweight in the first place. Where did she say so? Because you said she claimed to be a political heavyweight. Where did she say so? When did she say so? When?
Prince, if you're a chairman of an organization what they call COP, and we say that it comprises all political parties put together, yeah, and then put you as a head.
So
and then earlier on you said that COP is not political party. Now you attribute to political party where you want for the narrative to you.
We get document. We don't listen. We get document and we don't surface. We show
Okay.
COP did not register as a political party. COP registered as
Mr. Karimu.
a limited company. But sure, I know you don't
I can see the smile. I can see the smile on your face once you come to that point.
Sure. I know you don't stand then and now. There's a document making the rounds. COP did not register.
I don't go following funny. I don't. Mr. Karimu.
You don't see him.
Mr. Karimu.
No. But
let me answer. Can I answer the question then? You asked me question.
Mr. Karimu, answer the man. Wait, let him ask.
Quickly. Maybe you get the way I want for that answer. Anyway, Mr. Karimu, by the way, I ask the questions on this platform and I expect you to guess or provide answer. But I'm gentleman enough when you ask question, I will try for answer.
Okay,
so I don't just follow. Yeah, sure. I don't just follow all kind of documents and get excited about them because it suits me. I like the way it look who that it against, and then I get excited. I not even do the due diligence for find out where it is coming from, whether it's authentic or not. And I can implore on you for try for to do that next step before you come.
Well, we don't do it already. We don't do it already.
Let's show some joy. But anyway, Mr. Karimu.
We don't do them.
Okay, Mr. Karimu. And the same thing where Bashir would only talk all along. This is what it comes to. The heavy-handedness of the police. For go invite a single woman, you don't need an entire police force, according to you, for go for and you make example of Julian Assange, two different circumstances. You see, you put umbrella
then let me give you an example.
Who's the example you want to give me? Let me finish my point.
Police don't invite Cornelius DeVoe. He make a runner up to that. We'll not able to get up. So what do you say? Cornelius DeVoe.
Thank you for your humor towards the end of this program. But these issues are very, very serious. They are not comical at all. These are serious issues.
Not comical,
and it boils down to the same thing what we talk about. If person flee from the police instead of going towards the police, doesn't it bother you?
Because you know what they don't do.
No. My question to you is: if someone flees from the police, we can use Cornelius DeVoe, but there are many others. If you look all over pictures, the woman the way they arrest recently, where you seem for endorse, they are all over the place with beat mark them. They all know their body them. Woman them, with mama them, with sister them. Do you endorse that by the police?
Now that be saying.
Whose custody were they under? Whose custody them they under? Of course, now you struggle for answer the question. Yeah, Bashir.
Mr. Karimu, with all due respect, sir, the comparison we make between Assange and Femi Cole, in hold water, to be honest. Make I give you a very simple reason. Assange make publicly very serious allegations against the state. It incriminates the state very, very extensively. They invite him to go, he refused to run away. So he refused. Now he made them go after. Yeah, you don't.
Not to invite them, quick one, Bashiru, not to invite the inviter for go. It broke in bond. In bond.
Yeah,
That's what we need to
but
understand.
they
It's
also
different.
ask them. Yeah, no,
Invite you.
yeah, in addition,
No, invite
it
you
is
for
supposed.
Bashiru. There is a technical difference between when they invite you for camp and when they give you bond and you fail and broke the
You feel
bond.
that?
These are
Okay,
different things.
make me central point. Now,
Yeah, make your point. We just need for correct
now,
that.
now, you see, the issue here is, again, I come to the same point. History they repeat itself in front of your eyes, but we deliberately overlook. When there is a trend, Mr. Karimu, when something like a one-off, you go say, okay, nothing. But when you get a consistent trend, they happen and happen and happen and happen, there must be something wrong with the system, sir. Now, remember Sister Teresa, that NBC student on the APC, remember her?
Yeah.
This is the same thing. What in the APC, what did they say? Oh, Sister Teresa make inciting statement. Now, WhatsApp. 30 days will not see that statement there. 30 days, the so-called statement where Sister Teresa make, when they say they go arrest them, 30 days will not see her. Now, they go arrest Dr. Bright and Sister Femiko. They say they incite violence, and for incitement to violence. No, so the police you don't see any evidence of that apart from innuendos and subterfuge and all
Can
those.
you give Mr. Karim a chance to answer that question, please?
Yeah, you don't.
No. Hang on, Bashiru.
Yeah.
Hold your thoughts one moment. You ask good question.
If Dr. Bright therefore go court, if the case therefore proceed, obviously those evidence will come up.
Okay, well, I ask you. So you, as a citizen, you are quite happy for just believe a government, a system where no say traditionally, mentally, inherently dictatorial. Then they make a statement, say this person, when a political opponent to, it don't incite violence. Let me go down and then you don't believe. If you're not, well, they come. If you're not an objective citizen, you don't hold your breath until you see evidence. And I assure you, say, just like we're on that, just like under Sister Teresa, where we will not see evidence, you know, they ever see an evidence. Look at the press release of the so-called reasons what make the response later when look what they talk. They begin to talk about incident whether even relate to the.
All right, Bashiru.
So what do they try to say to you?
We did in the very last minutes of the program. The program has to end. Let me ask
There was
you this
no
question.
need. There was no need for that heavy-handedness.
I want to ask you now all two this question.
You were late with time, so you need for increased time for Bashiru. You were late with time, so you need for increased time.
Roland. If you want to respond to Ram, I will give you time. But we can't allow Bashiru for lecture the program. Bashiru is lecturing. Yeah. Yeah. You want to respond to Ram?
No.
Okay. Let me ask question then.
The thing with Bashiru, the angle where they come up from, and the angle, I mean, you say where they moderate this program here. I just think, say, in my view, right? It's all about the faults of the police from all the presentation I don't make. And there is a synergy between the police and the powers that be for say we will micromanage you.
Is that not so?
No, it does have a problem. It does have a problem with it. The man keep repeating the same thing. You keep asking the man the same thing.
No, Mr. Karimo, do you object to the notion?
What you are supposed to say we go do?
Do you object to the notion?
We will this to the court of public opinion. Let them judge the program.
Bashiru, here is my position on this. I believe the police is independent. Right? It depends on how objective you look at it, but the police is independent because
the police is independent on the SLPP. No,
there's that hardcore evidence.
No, hang on. You are saying
yes, they were non-independent under APC, but
so,
under the SLPP.
When you say the police at the camp, Mr. BK, so what you're saying, the police under SLPP is independent, but under APC it was not. That's your case, right?
If you want for let put on that way, I can tell you.
No, not to wait till you want for let you put on that way. What
the
is
police
your
has
view
always
on
been
that?
independent. The police has always been independent.
Okay. At least now it's general. But let me ask this question, Famulem. Hey, Bashiru, hang on. Yeah, you getting too excited. Well, on this question go to you. I'll be one beginning out Bashiru, but Bashiru is still so excited. Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Should the police be in the business of punishing individuals?
Well, you have to be you have to be clear on the question you asked.
The case of LJ.
LJ na common criminal. You cannot even listen. You don't even need to bring LJ's issue here. Yeah, how
What he make a common criminal? What he make a common criminal?
LJ has always been a case of robbing people. If don't you get a lot of cases in a court we get for do from robbery with aggravation, robbery with assault.
Which case now the court we don't prosecute and for convict and say he's the criminal?
Well, then that's where the problem is with the law we're getting at the country. That's
there we go.
Right.
But you see thousands of miles away, you they run a jurisdiction where say the man is guilty and they call him criminal.
I don't then a hotel na photo where LJ don't go set confusion, they thief somebody in mobile phone. Yes.
Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. How many times do we have to say this, Mr. Karim?
Prince.
Okay. But
not to wait till you go see, you could very well be lying on him. I'm not saying that you're lying. And he make na court, and they prove them. There's a huge difference, my friend. Not to you they decide.
Court LJ in cases they not be don't proceed it for go court to the point where it go get convicted. You understand? We make it a bring.
Until then, he remains non-guilty. It's simple. Stop calling people criminal
so
when courts not prosecute them.
So in this case now, Prince, as they say, LJ they arrest LJ for alleged robbery with aggravation, blah 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 blah. Now that's not the reason we made them they keep her custody. You understand? So police, you think say police or the law not the right for keeping it? Now is that the argument you're bringing up?
That wasn't my question. No, that wasn't my question. My question was punishment. Now he make you begin go down for who say he deserve punishment. He deserve punishment by scraping his hair, by abusing his rights, his human rights.
Prince,
you know, I agree with that.
You know, Prince.
Hang on, please, back.
This is the thing. This is not the problem we are, Prince. This is not the problem we are get with we. You understand? Yeah. Why do we not respect the institutions that we want let them do something for we? These police that we so they belittle. You understand? No, this is just the thing you're bringing up. If police don't put somebody in custody, right? If then your standard of operating system now say, you know what, this here where you get, it might be say you go use this wire as a way for let you strangle yourself or for let it cause problem. So because of this, we get frustrated here. Prince, you may be laughing over this thing, but we are looking at
because it's not a plausible argument, and with all due respect, Mr. Karim, I don't expect you.
It might not be a plausible statement to you.
Scientifically not plausible. Let's say one user for choking self, it has to be at a certain length and degree, and what have you? You have to prove all of the elements today. You are following the words of.
Where LJ can in lawyer complain about in dreadlocks so they don't take.
So you say again?
LJ in lawyer.
Well, I ask you. Wait,
the question, please. Yes, Karimu.
LJ in dreadlocks we didn't take. Now here, where LJ can court. He was looking calm. A lawyer put any counter statement against the in LJ in dreadlocks we didn't take.
What a preposterous question! I won't even bother to answer that.
No, you bother to answer because
no, I'm not going to.
Mr. Karim, will I just say this? It is quite, I'm glad you're very vocal against criminality and lawlessness. Thank you. I like that. So now make a try for test the waters with you when it comes to lawfulness.
We have 5 minutes for round up the program, but she will not forget it. We'll get for respond. Yeah.
Arata, that SWP guy, where I would say comparable to large way they now they criticize. What is your view about Arata and the fact that he roam around freely with all the record we get? Number one, those not constituency 110.
Well, Bashir, you're comparing political violence and a common criminal. That's the way I see it.
Okay, we don't lost Bashir, but continue your response.
Yes, I say Bashir they compare someone then they link with political violence, and someone that is a criminal. Yeah. Now, LAJ, I don't ever see LAJ pan political. Meddling or whatever. Of course, again, music that is somehow sometimes political, but they like Arata. But LAJ is a criminal. We don't see, and time and again, they don't rob so many places. They get issue with incompetence on something bordering dishonesty. So if Bashiri is to ask me between LAJ and Arata, if you're dealing with Arata on the political side, then Prince, I mean, you have your judgment. But if they look at Arata on, me no ever see them go tell me say Arata don't go rob somebody in a petrol station. They don't take him money in hand. They don't go like what LJ do. I not see Arata go. Arata go rob shop.
Mr. Karimu, do you know why they call him Arata?
Well, everybody get nickname. I am Rolling Stone. You know why they call me Rolling Stone?
Do you know? Yes, I know why they call. Of course, I do know. Do you know the characteristics of Arata?
Well, it depends on how you look at Prince. Arata them.
Anyway, I am not Rolling Stone. I'm not going to go down that path. But the point here is, you make very good points. But even though you they argue within the ambit of the law and for the law, but you forget for no say the law now in the speak now the most powerful instrument and the way for speak. So in other words, the country in law say every one of us, that includes you and myself, we are innocent despite charges that they may levy against us, despite suspicions people may have against us, despite when they levy suspicion against you or allegation against you. Now, because supposedly somebody see you, they do something like a case where you make. I don't see Usai Arata Aminem and LJ take somebody in phone or teach somebody in phone, according to you. But then an allegation, and then it go to police, and police investigate and file a charge sheet, and then can go to court. Only the jurisdiction of the court. Now, in they pronounce somebody guilty or not guilty, we will begin say this person a convict or what have you. Less than that, you are innocent until proven guilty. This is the point that I have been going on without backing anybody, but just on the side of the law, Mr. Karim.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's as simple, brother.
Okay, on the point of LAJ, don't you think waiting the law they do right now by keeping him incarcerated, while the proceedings they go on, it's time we put LAJ in issue to the side and let we allow the law to forget a verdict on LAJ's issue, because this time around, the time the way LAJ they commit offenses, the way it goes on at police level, then settle and down there, then let her go. Right now, people are arguing, but he's not been convicted. Right now, I agree with you. He is accused of doing something not yet proven. Is going through the court system, right? Let's wait, let the court system come to an end. Let's see if LAJ is going to be acquitted or is going to be convicted. If LAJ is going to be acquitted, then we know say the life panel, or we know say the evidence not be enough for convictor. But if LAJ is going to be convicted, then that goes to say a lot of the things the way LAJ be done, they do where they get away with them. This time around, people say enough is enough. So I'm not going to compare LAJ with Arata.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely up to you. But the reason why I ask you why they call Arata, you don't know. And supposedly you don't know about Arata in other case them. You only know about the political case, and because Bashir will mention 110, so you capitalize on the political side, and within the party structure, at some point he was really active. But there are other characteristics of him as well, and I think he derived the name from. You should do a background on that, and maybe you have a change of opinion. But Mr. Karimu, I want to say thank you very, very much. It's always a pleasure to get you on the platform. It rare forget you. And all that you did here was expected in many respects. And I say I'm with respectfully. And we expect dissenting voices and people that we hold a counter narrative, a counter view to others them on the platform. And for that reason, I appreciate you very, very much. I hope to host you again very soon. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't come to the end of this
And
particular program.
I want to give message for Femi Claudia School because I believe she's the host time.
Probably she's watching right now. So
on
yeah, fine
Thursday.
way, please.
Oh, anyway, I get a question for Femi Claudia School. I hope say they listen to me. And obviously, I will need for ask Femi on Thursday. So do open your line for me for that talk to Femi Claudia School. I mean, we're all Sierra Leoneans, and we get for look at things. If in politics, we get different ways how they approach with levels, I mean, let Femi not try to be an obstructionist, because to me, that's how I have seen this whole protest something. She has the right for organize a protest, but make you use the right channel. But I need for talk to her, and I need for you to talk to her over the phone.
Anyway, we will talk about this in the background, but I wonder it's supposed for use the right. You keep speculating and making them then grander statement them as if you are
because
you accuse you say if you take the entire police force for go for there's no problem with that.
Femi Claudia School and the police say Femi not ask for permission, and Femi they corporate and register as a limited company, but then they operate as a political party. And I have those documents that I need for confirm Femi with. And because we don't get now from the offices who say then the issue they will say. So Femi need for tell this podium, and need for tell audiences on Thursday the disparities between the document where we get now and the one we get.
If you don't mind me asking.
Me we sit on here.
So you want going a plural tense, we?
No.
Or you change them again?
Public document. Other people don't get them. So that's
I'm not talking.
Ask a question on Thursday.
When they speak for yourself, but the we is kind of indicative.
Well, I got it from someone else, and someone got it from someone. So now make on Thursday, you don't talk to Femi. She's a politician. I think she's smart enough for able. So I just got a heads up for doing research and come up with an answer because she's not.
Mr. Karimu, you sound a little bit threatening there. She's a politician. Let you do your research and come and rah.
No, it's not threatening.
1 minute. With some of the things where you say here tonight regarding the arrest, then why they write for arrest them and whether it take the entire police force for go arrest them, don't you find that you're like over the top? And then now you want to ask a question after you've made.
No. I'm asking her about an incriminating document. We in the purport say it was look.
No. I agree with that. Now you're simplifying things. I'm saying now you want to ask a question. Assumably, she's watching the program tonight and heard you saying that the police was absolutely right in effecting an arrest, and not only effecting the arrest, but the manner in which they carry out the arrest. And you even
because she was very dramatic. She was very over dramatic.
If you over dramatic and you take mobile phone inside your own premises, they record, that require the entire police force can come for you.
Because then even listen, Prince. Then lock in place. Will be the hearing invoices. A lock all the place.
Inside in your premises. Let me go back to the Constitution for you. Let me go back to you see, all I've been saying here tonight, Mr. Karimu, I'm talking within the remit, the boundary of the law. The boundary of the law. The woman there inside in private premises, in your premises, where the Constitution give a right, say you get your right for there inside your premises, and you will be protected as such. And you are implying that it's so over dramatic inside your house. Come on, man, Mr. Karimu. Last word, Karimu.
Last word, Prince. I mean, your program is okay, but the way you look at things and the way you try to put, I mean, not allegations. I mean, accusations on the side on the part of one side, not listening to the other side objectively. It makes it a bit difficult, because the country they go through a lot at this time as we talk. People like you, a lot of people listen to your program, and whatever they get from your side is what some people take as the gospel truth. So you get for make sure say let both sides be heard, not only on one side. Because like right now, as even this argument where we get on this Femi in your own side.
The program is finished. The program is finished. I should have tuned off and I told you that it's finished. And then you brought the Femi, you say you want, now you're using that short space to categorize and characterize the entire. You see, wow.
Prince,
Anyway, last
if,
one for you. You got the last one in there. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of this brilliant program. It's always a pleasure having the brother on. He forgot that they were two earlier on. It wasn't only him. He tried to use the last few minutes to have a dig. But never mind, he's a brother. Much more respect. At times, the debate was feisty, but every ounce of it, every second of it was worth it. Karimu, thank you very much, and I will see you shortly. I'll talk to you shortly.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay,
Yes,
family,
sir.
that. Tomorrow we get Femi Claudio School on the program. I mean, on Thursday we get Femi Claudio School on the program. The rising star, the rising political star of Sierra Leone, woman for that matter, and she will be on this program on Thursday, 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Salon time. Don't miss it. I promise you it's going to be exciting. I mean, this is what we do here. We dig, we dive deep into the annals of where the question lies because the answer is beneath. How do we get there? It has to be through alluvial mining. And this is what we do here. But we try to be objective, speaking out within the remit of the law, trying to highlight the law. Simply put, every Sierra Leonean is innocent until proven guilty. It's been pleasure, and I thank you very, very much for listening. It's been a then and now, and can I say good night to everybody? I go see you tomorrow when I go host Alhaji Marcos Magura of the C4D. Good night and bye.